What's up, guys? Andy Drifter here. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I hope your Memorial Day weekend is going great. This video is going to be part 25 of this ongoing series that I've had on my channel called Some of My Favorite Autographs. Now today, the signatures that I'm going to show you are from ball players of the steroid era, the PED era. It was arguably the most exciting time in baseball. Home runs were being hit at an unprecedented rate. Now, all these autographs were obtained in person. Some of these guys have admitted to their steroid use. Some of these guys have denied their steroid use, and it was later revealed that they were on PEDs. And some of these guys, there was just suspicion, but no hard proof. And some of them even made it into the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to roll them out for you now. Tell me what you think, and feel free to comment below. One of the first names, if not the first name you think of when talking about the steroid era, is Jose Canseco. He is formerly one half of the Bash Brothers along with Mark McGwire. He is the self-proclaimed godfather of steroids. According to him, he was the one that brought steroids into the game and brought it to the masses, educated other players about usage. As far as his resume, I think a lot of people know what he's accomplished. He is baseball's first 40-40 guy, six-time All-Star, 462 home runs. He was the unanimous MVP of the 1988 season. Known for his moonshots, Jose was must-see TV when he took the plate. What you may not know is that he was 1994's AL Comeback Player of the Year. That was his second and final season with the Rangers. He also is the first player to have hit 30 or more home runs for 4 different teams. His career is a great tale of what could have been. Specifically, his 1990, 95, 96 seasons with the Red Sox and his 1999 season. They all had a chance to be MVP caliber seasons, but they were all cut short due to injury. Injuries plagued Jose's career, more than half his career. He would have easily hit over 600 home runs had he stayed healthy for at least half of those games that he missed. He probably would have also been the all-time strikeout leader. He is 9th on the all-time strikeout list with just over 1,900 whiffs. Reggie Jackson tops that list. He has almost 2,600 Ks. As far as these autographs, I got a chance to meet Jose several times. He does a lot of signings. The 8x10 was in 2019 at an autograph signing in Houston. And the mini bat was a signing at a minor league game for the Altoona Curve. That was in 2017. Prior to the start of that game, Jose did a home run derby versus some minor league players who were far younger than him. He did not win the derby, but he did hit some great shots. Jose, one of the most vicious swings in baseball, one of the most entertaining players of baseball. I think he transcended the sport. But that's the first autograph or autographs that I have for you in this video. Next up is a former teammate of Canseco, and perhaps the most notorious of all the PED users of the steroid era, Rafael Palmeiro. And the reason that I say he may be one of the most notorious ones is because he never looked like a steroid user. I mean, he gained some weight over the course of his career, but nothing was eye-popping about his physique. He wasn't hugely muscle-bound like Canseco or Bonds became to be. And Canseco mentioned him in his book, 2005's Juiced. And that was the first time that anybody pointed the finger at Rafael Palmeiro about steroid usage. But at the time, nobody believed Canseco and his claims. In March of 2005, Palmeiro, along with several other MLB stars, appeared before Congress to talk about steroids in baseball. We all remember his infamous opening statement where he wagged his finger at Congress and said, "Under no circumstances did I ever use steroids during my career." At the time, everybody did believe him. It was in August of that same year when baseball began punishing players if they tested positive for steroids, and Palmeiro was one of those first guys to go down. He tested positive. I believe it was for Winstrol, and he served a 10-game suspension. So at that time, people were shocked, and Canseco was starting to gain some credibility. ultimately everybody that Canseco pointed the finger at in both his books had some ties to steroids. Palmeiro, at the time of his retirement, he was only the fourth guy to get to 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. Since then, that list has expanded to 7 ball players. As far as this autograph, this was at the Chicago Sports Spectacular in 2021. And having him sign this card was not my first choice. Usually at these big signings, there is a vendor who will have 8x10s. And this was right after COVID. For whatever reason, that vendor did not show up. So I was in a last-minute scramble to find something for Palmeiro to sign. And this was the best that I could find. It is a 1990 Topps card. Palmeiro, he had a career that spanned 20 years. Played for Texas, then Baltimore. I think he played for the Cubs as well. This card here, it is certified by JSA. He is no longer on the Hall of Fame ballot, and it is highly unlikely that he will ever get into the Hall, which is a shame. He had a great career, won several Gold Gloves. 3 times he finished in the top 10 in MVP voting. I believe he made a handful of All-Star appearances. But yeah, that is the second autograph that I have for you. A baseball card signed by Rafael Palmeiro. Third up to bat is a signed memoir of Lenny Dykstra's book, House of Nails. I got a chance to meet him in 2017. He inscribed the book to me. Take the Profit. I'll explain what that means in a second. Lenny Dykstra, he was a 3-time All-Star. He was part of those 1986 Mets. And twice during his career, he finished in the top 10 in NL MVP voting. He talks about his own steroid usage in this book. And he claimed, look, I was a smaller guy. I needed something to get me through the grind of 162 games. And that's why I resorted to using. He also saw some of his fellow teammates, as well as other players, getting bigger and stronger, raking in bigger contracts, and he wanted to join in, and I can't say that I blame him. Now, when I met him, it wasn't really a big turnout. It was at a small restaurant in Jersey. It was like a sports bar. And it's very hard to understand Dykstra when he talks. He has like this mushmouth way of talking. I do believe he sustained some injuries while he did prison time for some kind of stock scam, and we briefly touched on investing, and I think he was trying to get me to invest with him, which is why he wrote Take the Profit. Of course, there was not a chance in hell that I was going to do that, but anyway, this is a great read if you get the chance, and he was an entertaining player. He was a guy who played, who earned that nickname, Nails. He played hard every day, and he was a fan favorite not only with the Mets, but the Phillies. So there it is, my third autograph, a signed book of Lenny Dykstra's House of Nails. Gary Sheffield had one of the most vicious swings in the history of baseball. Over his career, he slugged 509 home runs. Despite being such a prolific power hitter, he never struck out more than 83 times in a season, and he finished his career with a .292 batting average. He made 9 All-Star appearances. He had 6 top 10 MVP finishes. He won a batting title and a World Series ring with those 97 Marlins. As far as his PED usage, he was one of those Balco boys. Now, according to him, the only thing he ever used was the cream, which was a steroid-infused bomb. He was former friends and training partners with Barry Bonds. And through the recommendation of Bonds, he used that cream. But it was later revealed that he was in the Mitchell report and his steroid usage was a little more severe than using just a cream that was infused with testosterone. Despite all that, at the end of this year will be Sheffield's 10th and final appearance on the Hall of Fame ballot, and he has been gaining momentum. Last year, he got 55% of the votes. The year before that, he got just under 41%, so that was a significant jump. For those of you that are unaware, you need 75% of the votes to get into the Hall of Fame, and there's always that big push in a player's final season on the ballot. As far as this year's newcomers to the Hall of Fame ballot, the only one that is Hall of Fame bound is Adrian Beltre. So there is a fair chance that Sheffield might get in, despite his links to PEDs. I got a chance to meet him in Houston through Fitterman Sports. If you are familiar or somewhat familiar with the autograph circuits, they are based out of Friendswood, which is a suburb of Texas, and they have many autograph shows. Got a chance to meet him, tell him how much I admired him, and tell him that I hope he gets into the Hall of Fame. I know he's had some personality issues, which may have played a part in him playing for so many teams. You heard me mention earlier that Canseco was the first player to have hit 30 or more home runs for 4 different teams, while Sheffield did it for 5 teams. But that could be viewed in more ways than one. If you were to ask Sheffield, well, he would say that, look, I was just that talented that other teams were in need of my services. I guess we'll have to see if he gets into the Hall of Fame. Just because he doesn't get in on his 10th try doesn't mean he'll never get in. There is that Today's Game committee where they take a closer look at players who did not make the ballot via the traditional way. This 8x10, excuse me, is certified by JSA. So that's the autograph that I have for you in the cleanup spot in this video. And the last autograph that I have for you is a signed 8x10 by the greatest hitting catcher of all time, Mike Piazza. He slugged over 400 home runs in his career, and he finished with a .308 batting average. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Over his career, he made 12 All-Star appearances along with 8 top 10 finishes in MVP voting. By his own admission, he used androstenedione, which at the time was not banned by baseball and was readily available over the counter at any health food supplement store. For those of you that don't know, andro, it is a steroid. I mean, once you consume it, it works just like any other steroid. Up until 04-05, the supplement industry was like the Wild Wild West, and you could find a lot of things at GNCs or vitamin shops that mimic the effect of steroids. So I think that's kind of why he got a pass. He was also just a really likable guy. Everywhere he went, he was a fan favorite. Started off his career with the Dodgers. Very briefly, he was a Marlin. Then he went to the Mets. Finished off his career with the A's and the Padres. Everywhere he went, he was loved. So that is the final autograph that I have for you in this video. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to watch. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with some more uploads.